afternoon. Okay, we have two speakers here this afternoon representing the Sarasota Performing Arts Foundation. And let me introduce the first one, the Executive Director, Tania Castroverde Moskalenko, and she's the Chief Executive Officer of the Foundation, and she's leading the effort at the Foundation to advance the vision for a new Sarasota Performing Arts Center at the Bay. She's got over 20 years experience leading major arts and cultural organizations. And she's held executive positions with the Miami City Ballet, our co-member, a friend of mine who worked with her, Chicago's Auditorium Theater, and the Center for Performing Arts in Indiana. She's a native of Havana, Cuba, and she was raised in Miami. She holds a BFA from the University of Memphis, an MA in philanthropy from Indiana University, and she has executive certifications from the Harvard Business School and the Harvard Kennedy School. So thank you for being here, Tania. Thank you very much. And our second speaker is no stranger to downtown Sarasota or the county either, and that is Drayton Saunders. Drayton is a seasoned real estate professional with a wealth of experience in the industry. He joined Michael Saunders and Company in 2005, and I think I've known you ever since, and has since become a key figure in the company's leadership. His leadership skills were honed during his tenure as vice president, prior to his current role, where he played a pivotal role in shaping the company's strategic direction. He possesses a deep understanding of the real estate market dynamics in Sarasota. We may need you.
I hope so.
We may need you on the downtown master plan update committee. Outside of his professional life, Drayton's interests include mentoring incoming real estate agents and advocating for sustainable development in the industry. And he's currently president of Michael Saunders and Company, and the father of 3 children, right? That's right. Okay. He's the chair of the foundation board. Okay, so I'm going to turn it over to our speakers. And Tania, do you start?
I do.
You
Yes.
do. Okay, thank you.
Right,
And you've got a microphone.
I'm gonna stand on this side. I don't want that camera only picks up your backside, just so that is why.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, well, we're on this over here. You're better off in the center.
Okay,
Here's.
I tried a little while ago and it was not
They
a
changed the
not a
camera,
good look,
yes.
let me just say.
You're looking good,
So, good afternoon, and thank you to all of you for having us back here to share with you updates on the Center for the Performing Arts. And today we are going to Drayton and I are going to try to answer some of the questions that were posed to us. I know that there is a lot of anticipation to hear about where the project is since we went to the commission back in March. So today we're going to try to give you some information on the status of the concept design process, the alternate site that we spoke about in late winter earlier this year, the look of a Renzo piano design, the major spaces that will be designed inside of this new construction, parking, access to the site, both for trucks and for pedestrians, the estimated cost, and the status, the current status of the implementation agreement. And of course, we'll be open to questions after we finish with it. So if you will recall, because I know, I believe that all of you in the room have been in at least one presentation of the Center for Performing Arts. So if you will recall from our last meetings, which were earlier this year, as I mentioned at the end of the winter, there was a preliminary project concept design and site plan. There we go. And that site plan and that design aligned with these 5 design principles that are both principles for Renzo Piano, this particular project, which is more park for all, which also aligns with the Bay Park vision and mission for the park, resiliency given the site, sustainability, a cultural promenade for the entire community to enjoy the new Performing Arts Center, and transparency and accessibility. Those design principles continue to guide the vision for the new performing arts center. The building will embrace the waterfront, it will connect to the park, and it will provide, as I mentioned, this walkable promenade along 41 for year-round community use. So going back to the original concept design, we originally had 4 buildings that encompass the programming for the Performing Arts Center. That very quickly, after we unveiled that in September, very quickly turned into 3 buildings because we brought 2 of the buildings together. I think I have a pointer. So there was a 4th building over here that very quickly we realized that it could be combined with this one. So the 4 buildings turned into 3 very quickly, and all of these buildings did encompass the program for the new Performing Arts Center, a large theater, a multi-purpose space over a lobby, and then this medium theater that was also left for a future phase. So the 4 buildings turned into 3, which then turned into 2. And that is what we were talking about last winter when we left these meetings with you. And so based on community feedback, based on everything we have heard from you, everything we have heard from across the city of Sarasota, we have done many meetings at a community, a neighborhood association, a private a condos association. So based on that feedback, we have rethought and have an alternate plan. Here we go. So now we have an alternate plan for the site. And that feedback has guided us from this space right here, where the large theater was on the north side of the canal. I know those of you who live in this building are not really happy with that. There was a building right on the canal, and then this future space for a medium building. So all of this has now moved south of the canal, and we discussed that at the end of the meeting. And so the site that we are looking at right now for the new concept or for the concept design finalization is south of the canal. Are there, I'm going to stop right there to see if there are any questions, because that has taken us from September of last year to today on what we are thinking on the site. Yeah, everybody good with that?
That's where the long bowling is.
That's where the long goal is, that's correct. That is,
Is that disappearing?
It's gone.
Yeah, it's up.
Oh, it is become.
Already at Bobby Jones.
We'll see.
so I'll continue and I can answer further questions. There. So this alternate design continues to abide by some design parameters, and one of those is the climate resiliency guidelines, and those are from the city of Sarasota Climate Adaptation Plan of 2017, which was adopted in 2018. Theater design requirements for the latest in Broadway productions and commercial productions, and then the height limit of the corridor. So these are the 3 things that the architects will continue to keep in mind as they finish the design on the south side. This is an interesting slide that I'm not sure that we ever presented this to you. So we have the buildings, these buildings right here are on the west, or on the east side of 41. And so here is the Broadway Promenade where we are standing today. The Renaissance condominiums, the Alinari, the Jefferson Center, and then these are the 2 buildings as they stood earlier for winter. And this is the new corridor right here, this red dotted line, and this is the amount of height that will be above the new corridor. Now that is only if the building is elevated, right? If the building is on the ground, that would not.
what's the height of the building if it's on the ground?
If it's on the ground, because of the view corridor, it cannot go above 94. If it's elevated 20 feet, it's 94 plus 20 feet, so it goes above the view corridor.
And how much of those sea levels?
I think it's 14.
You mentioned 3 buildings before. And now you're down to 1 or 2.
Excuse me.
You're down to 2.
So when we presented to the city commission in March of this year, we were down to 2. That third building, which was an 800, more or less an 800 theater, so a medium-sized theater, that building was completely removed from the plan. It wasn't in the original plan. It wasn't in the original RFP that was distributed in 2023. So we removed that from the plan with the idea that someday in the future, that could be something that could be built on the site. And so that building has been removed.
You briefly mentioned the view corridor. Can you explain how, whether it satisfies the Renaissance protected view corridor?
The current design, well, we are still waiting for the design from the architects, but the expectation is that it will, that those are the parameters they have been given, right? The RFP, the original RFP for the, so let me go back and just share this because you might not be aware of it. So the 53-acre park includes the north side of the canal, where what's right across the street here, right, where the motors are. That is included in the 53 acres of the park. When the architects were given their marching orders, they were told they needed to stay below that view corridor because there is an agreement with the city of Sarasota, so they have to stay within that view corridor. So what did the architects do? There's a view corridor on the south side of the canal, but there's no view corridor on the north side of the canal. So the architects put the building on the north side of the canal because there's no view corridor. And so it was easier for them to elevate the building.
Right.
And hence maintain that alignment with resilient, right? They figured if they raised the building, first category 5 hurricane came through, it would go straight through the bottom of the building. And so that's why they moved, or that's why they designed the original design of it.
North of the canal, now you're saying it's been moved to the south.
It's been moved to the
So
south.
now it's in the protected view corridor,
So
right?
now it is in the protected view corridor, and so the new, not new, but what the challenge for the architects is, can they put that building, or will they put that building on the ground? That's what they've been asked to do. Okay. Is that clear? Is that
Yeah, you had
clear?
mentioned view corridor plus 20 feet, so that's what.
Oh, right, well, because what I would, the question I was answering is, if the building as it was presented to the city commission remains with that design, it goes above the view corridor right up.
That's in violation,
That's correct.
well, then it doesn't.
Yeah, that's correct. Good, keep going.
Yeah.
Great.
Tanya, will you repeat the questions next time, please?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm going to do that. So the next step is, what is going to be, that was one of the questions that was asked of us to talk about today, what is going to be within that new construction? And so what we have done is because we have gone back and forth with different seating capacities, number of performing arts spaces. So what we have done is we have gone back to the original RFP of that the city put out back in 2020. And that is a 2,200 seat theater and a 300, approximately 250, 300 seat multi-purpose space with a flexible flat door for communities. And it can also be used for education programs and other events. And then back of house access with dedicated truck access and loading docks, obviously for scenery, lighting, and touring equipment. And also our education spaces. So as you know, the foundation that has been around since 1987. And the reason the foundation was founded was to support the education program that it had Liaison. So since 1987, the foundation has granted the Van Ways over $18 million to support their education programs. So at the heart of what the foundation does is community engagement and education. So these education spaces are very important to us because we want to ensure that we break down the barriers to arts access, that we can reach our youth and students in Sarasota and beyond that historically have not had access to the arts. So those spaces are very important to us. And I'm happy to say that we will have in this building, in the building, some of the education spaces. This is what you are seeing are renderings from earlier this year. So I want to make sure that none of you get attached to this because Renzo is not redesigning, but he is finishing the design for the building to be south of the canal. So it might look a little different. So I hope none of you get really attached to it. If you do and you want to write a big check, then please contact me. And we'll make sure we talk to Renzo about it. But for
I have just a quick question. In all of the renderings, you've had the lobby facing 41, correct? Which is going to be this nice open glass overlooking. I think the view of the bay would be far superior than Publix and the Jefferson. Why don't they have the lobby facing towards the bay?
they might.
I'm just, because you're gonna have this beautiful open thing looking at a gas station.
Yeah, I mean, and there have been various iterations of what that might look like of those renderings. There was one time, and we can talk also about the Van Wezel if you wish, but there was a time when I was sitting with the architects and they were trying to have the buildings speak to the Van Wezel, right? So like these two buildings are making part of a campus, of a performing arts campus. So, it changes, and until it gets approved by the city commission, I think there's nothing that can't be tweaked. So I think that's a good feedback, and they've heard that before. So this rendering right here, I had talked a little bit earlier about how we combined two spaces. One of them was this large lobby area, and then above that was the multi-purpose space, which is that 300-seat flexible space. And I want to show you some of these renderings that you were talking. So you'll remember that.
Yes.
What is one you were talking about? Now, I can't guarantee that's what the building will look like, but that looks like a Renzo piano. And if you go out on the internet and you Google or ask AI to show you images of Renzo piano's buildings, a lot of them look like this. There's a lot of transparency. The buildings look very much alike. There's a lot of glass that he uses, and he usually uses the same glass. I've seen a lot of buildings in person around the country, and a lot of them, they have the Renzo piano standard. The multi-purpose space, this is actually a building that he did at John Hancock. No, it wasn't John Hancock. But this building, this is also very typical of Renzo, where he has this transparency into beautiful spaces that are either wooded or there's water. And so it's really quite healing. And this is what we envision for our multi-purpose space, where we could have chamber meetings or other rentals in the community, and that there would be this view of this amazing site, because I can't think of anything worse than being in this site and be completely covered in concrete. And so the beauty about having a Renzo piano building is that you can actually enjoy the amazing views from the site, both of the park and of the bay. And then this was the rooftop terrace, which we talked about. We plan to keep the rooftop terrace. I think that it would be a shame to have, again, the views that we have in this amazing site and not have a space where the community can actually go and enjoy this amazing site, this amazing park and the views of the bay. And this would be a covered roof terrace. And I think if you'll remember, we talked about these photovoltaic panels that would create energy for the building itself. This is the promenade. And so what I wanted to mention real quickly is that the plan is to, the idea is to ensure that the public can access this, pedestrians can access this. I think, or I don't know if you're aware that the Bay Park is working hand in hand with the city to create parking solutions right on the park. They are in a AG Lappin does a great job of presenting this, and he recently did both for the city commission and for the county commission, where there's going to be park over parking. So there is a plan to cover the existing Van Wezel parking, so to speak, with park, and then there's going to be a 3-story, I think it was 3-story structure with additional parking. So the Van Wezel with a little bit over 800 spaces. And that new construction in the park is going to have close to that. I don't think it gets quite to that, but it's going to be pretty close to that. So I know parking is something that all last year, everywhere I went, people were asking about parking, where are we going to park? So this is one of the solutions that the Bay Park and the city have come up with, and it's already in design, which was recently approved for design. And then the final question that was asked of us was about the draft implementation agreement. And the last time we went to the city commission was in March of this year, so it's been about 7 months. And there were a lot of questions. There were a lot of questions that, we're talking about today, about the site, about the location. There was a question about the cost, which I'm going to speak about in a minute. And so all these summer months, while all of you were up in cooler weather up north, we were here working on making sure that we were answering all the questions that were being asked and improving the design and improving the concept so that the community is a better fit for the community. So the total project cost was one of the things that total project cost. Wouldn't you know it? Every time you want to talk about money. Can we get?
I'm working on it, give me a second.
Okay, thank you. So as you might remember, the total project costs include the hard costs and soft costs for the building, everything that, the actual construction of the building, and then everything that if you turn the building upside down, everything would fall off of it. So those are soft costs. And so when we presented to the city commission with escalation, that project cost was at $407 million, the total project cost. And so with the work that we've been doing with Renzo and other consultants throughout the summer, we're going to be closer to the number that was in the original RFP. And so it's going to be closer to 270, between 275. Oh, wow. So, and then my final slide, I think you are all aware, is the co-funding plan. And the foundation is in partnership with the city, working on the philanthropy side of this project. And this is the way that a lot of these projects, public-private projects, get done across the country. And they are public-private because the private sector puts in part of the cost through philanthropy, and that is our role as a nonprofit 501c3 is to raise dollars from the philanthropic sector, and then the city's public funding would come from the tax increment financing, the TIP, the petty tax, and then county, state, and federal grants. And that is the end of my presentation. I hope that I have answered many of those questions that Dave, you and Ken sent to us, but I'm happy to go further. And I know Drayton, who is chairman of the board of the foundation, is here also to answer any questions you might have.
I have a question. If you can go back to the your second or third slide that had the
layout of the buildings where you showed the red,
Yes.
the new alternate location.
The red square.
No soldiers, so.
So,
So, I haven't seen any recent drawings from the Bay Park as to the north-south vehicle connection. How was that planned? Did that basically take over where the van ways away goes north-south?
yeah, so it would be great, you can go out and look in this, I think in the city's website probably has it, because he recently made the presentation to the city. It's probably on their website as well. But that parking garage that I was talking about, so if you can see here, the park,
There
the existing parking had been. Oh,
Just out
they
now.
have it? Yeah, so this area, which is where the existing parking is, it'll be covered with park. It'll slope up slightly and in a comfortable way for, people, children to be able to go up. And then, underneath all of this will be a very large parking area. And then on this side here, so east of where the rest.
So the 3-story garage would back the Performing Arts Center.
That's correct.
So the question is, how do vehicles get from Lower the Arts to 10th Street? West of 41.
So through, Van Ways Away,
So,
which is still.
because this shows it going through the parking garage. You're saying there'll be a separate?
No, it'll be through the parking.
The parking, there will be, Van Ways Away would go between this building and the parking.
The main entrance will probably be under 10th Street would be where the main entrance.
But that's all in design
So-
right now, isn't
That's
it?
all in design, yeah,
So
but that's
we don't
all
know
different
yet.
from what I.
So it's not been approved yet, has it?
No,
No,
Okay.
it's in design.
I think you're saying it was approved.
no.
The layout was street.
What was approved, was, the investment on behalf of the city and the county to design. But it hasn't been designed. There's a preliminary, there's like a preliminary rendering.
Oh,
And the expectation
well, this is from the Bay, this is from the Bay.
Art Center would be that all
Different approval.
support tracks, i.e. your loading trucks, everything comes off 10th Street, nothing comes off Lower the Arts, is that correct?
I would doubt that it would come from Boulevard of the Arts, knowing how Boulevard of the Arts goes into the park. I think it would be more efficient if it would came in from 10th Street.
It's more than efficient, it's the only way you can get an 18-wheeler.
But it's in design.
So,
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, but
Is it in design?
And we maybe, and it might be good just from a, because I think these are all super, we would love to have been answering these
Drayton,
questions.
Mike.
Oh, Mike, really, thank you. Is that okay? All right, great. So I'm gonna jump up as the non-official part of the presentation, because Tania's sole job is to be in that process of bringing it forth from the foundation's perspective. But I don't want you to leave without kind of maybe the bigger picture story, because as you get into any one of these slides, as you've heard, some are either in design or going to be designed, and they're really the fiduciary responsibility of the Bay Park as they pursue this concept of parking for the future of the park. It has to integrate into what is conceptualized as the next iteration of the concept design. But I want to go back a step, because I think as we sit here and we sort of get into that, well, this is all certain, this is going to happen. I want to sort of pitch a slightly different version of what you heard in it, which is, as I have watched the entire, and how many of you were here in 2013 and you heard that there was this idea of a master plan park? And you know, here we are 13 years later, and we have successfully proved out of concept that a park can be transformative, and we're now beginning to look at the next iteration, but it's 13 years. And so part of what I am passionate about and why I'm on the board is the community back in 2013 or 2018, really, when you did the TIF, which is the financing for this, really said what the community wanted was a master plan park that met the guiding principles. And part of that was the idea that we'd have a new performing arts hall. And lo and behold, this Purple Ribbon Committee has weighed in, whether you agree with it 100% or not. There's some really important facts about the limits of that facility, whether it can be repurposed. You know, that is not ever been something we felt was our job to say what the Van Weasel should or shouldn't be. But what is really evident after the Purple Ribbon Committee reported is, if we want arts in the heart of Sarasota, this is it. That red box is where we are going to have to decide as a community and as a commission, are we going forward? The next step is to deliver it. And how many of you have ever designed, if you've designed anything with an architect? And I won't ask for hands. You know that sometimes your initial view is not your end view. And so, yes, we have gone from 4 buildings at 465 million to basically what as a partnership. And I want to thank the city, because the city is staying true to their commitment to this vision. But what you will also be reading about is, where is the county? And if you know anything about the way the TIF works, it's not one big pot that's guaranteed. The Bay Park, everybody has to go before the board, I'm not gonna get the name right, Tania, that one. And they have to basically say, do you like this idea? And that board says yes or no. And they have county and city representatives. But the funds are still voted on by the city commission for the city funds and the county commission for the county funds. And so up through the summer, one of the hard things that have been done is, what are we hearing, or unofficially, what is the county telegraphing about their desire to spend TIF funds on this? And what I think we heard, at least informally, is it's not certain that the county wants to spend money on this. And you should know that. And so if you are passionate about this and are close to a county representative, you might want to tell them this is important. Because what that's done, like any good architectural process, is it said the budget you thought you had to build with just got tighter. And so why you've seen value engineering is not just for being responsible to taxpayer money. It's also been to, hey, we have to have a budget we can achieve as a public-private partnership. And the only one in that boat from a public standpoint that has 100% been rowing in the same direction has been the city. And so you should be proud of your city leadership to say they are committed to what the community said in 2018 was the purpose of the TIF, which is to build out a park, to talk about mobility, and to invest in the arts in the heart of Sarasota. And so part of what you're seeing is, what can we offshore? What can we live without in that design? So I give a really great example. In iteration 1, there was a restaurant inside the building. Well, someone said, well, there's gonna be restaurants outside the building. We don't need a restaurant. Well, we probably need catering facilities. Well, let's get that out. That was a want to have, not a must have. When you get down to the must haves, there are really 2 components. What is the number of seats? So the 2,200 that was proffered that we need to be able to manage the needs of the art going community when it comes to major performances for the next 50, 100 years. And then on the flip side, and this is really important, not all donors care about Broadway. Some do, some don't. What a lot of donors who are committed to this project care about is arts education and the philanthropy of arts, and the ability to bring people into the world of arts, not just through the lens of a Broadway show. And so that's where the 250 to 300 smaller theater come from. Because both of those private dollars have to be excited about giving that 50% of the money towards it. So that's why those 2 things are essential. And so we've been working really hard over the summer to be like, what can we deliver that can be done? Because I don't think missing this opportunity, if we go forward and don't do this, we will regret it. And yes, there will be a fabulous orchestra building probably on Fruitville at some point. Great, good, I cheer them on. But is it in the heart of Sarasota? Oh, no. And quite honestly, what makes this community, for as long as I've ever been told that when I was a kid, and then living it as an adult, what makes us unique is the infrastructure around arts that we have within a mile radius of where we're sitting. And so I believe that this is an essential mission for not just the performing arts, but for the community itself. And so when I jump from sort of cheering for the park or cheering for the hall, it's kind of with that blended hat. And so where we expect to be in first quarter is a revised concept design that can be implemented financially, that meets the core objectives of our city partner and our private sector donors, and that then can be integrated in real time with the planning that's going on in the park, the parking, mobility, etc. And so I think that what you're gonna see is us having gone slow, 'cause it's been mind-numbingly slow, if you track expectations, to being able to go at least moderately fast. That will still depend on a city partner that believes in partnership. And the community saying you've hit the right balance of function, cost, and aspiration. And that's kind of where we are today. I mean, in a big picture summary, I don't know if that was helpful.
Yes.
In addition to the details.
Yes, thank you.
Putting your real estate hat on for a
Yes.
second.
I love that.
I knew that. Anyway, what do you think if this thing fell through?
Sure.
What's that going to do to the value of the real estate that's been built recently or is under construction currently? In the Quay and all of the Rosemary and downtown? How does that affect, do you think, the value, the overall value of their, because I'm trying to put a dollar number
Yeah.
in line with that to go to the county and say, hey, look at this tax base that you're gonna blow.
Yeah.
By not supporting this.
It's hard to quantify that because we're not a one-trick pony town, right? So I mean, there's a lot of reasons you move here. It's certainly aesthetically beautiful. I mean, we have, whether it's St. Armand's beaches, I mean, you never sell one thing. But I want to put that lens on, there's two pieces of this. There's the monetary value of continuing to be a destination. And so when you look at where people can go, and real estate's, we've become it's not inexpensive to buy a new condominium development downtown. It's not inexpensive to build them. But if somebody says, well, where do I want to go? Where do I want to invest? And they said, well, I've never been to Florida before, because that's not an uncommon journey. They're going to say, well, I'm going to shop the East Coast. I'm going to shop Naples. St. Pete's kind of got some cool stuff going on. I do think you're in a place where you have to continue to invest in what makes you unique. And our calling card has always been, this has been part of that. So I think that if you start to unwind those things, you will lose some percentage of that audience that drives ultimately the upward, all ends of the market. But particularly if we're trying to sell and work with a lot of developers, they probably count on us investing in this asset. You should go ask them, because I'll give a great example, the boulevards. Remember the boulevard? So right over there on the corner. I remember that developer when the park was being designed, and he said, what the heck are you doing? You're gonna put this thing over here, you're gonna mess with my ingress and egress. Why are you messing with my world, right? I just don't want any disruption to my view of developing this product. And then a little bit of progress happened and some designs came out. The pretty picture of the park came out. And do you know what the next thing in his brochure was?
Pictures of the park.
Pictures of the park. So, don't be lost.
Sorry, we lost the audio. Oh. We don't have audio. There's no audio on remote.
Thank you. Once in a lifetime effort. And you all are part of, this is about vertical living. You're all neighborhoods. I think so. So I'm gonna be quiet now. And just say, if you say, how you doing, something? It's recording. There are 5 operators to this project.
No audio.
Thank you so much. I think it was just perfect. Thank you. We complimented each other well.
You're welcome.
We had to switch from the internet this time.
And you're free to stay, or you guys can?
I've got 3 kids that make you
other
good at
things to do? 3 kids.
See you, thank you. Take care, man. See you, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on, Clark, are you with the treasurer's report?
No, because I haven't answered this.
Okay, all right, moving on,
That's it.
moving on to new business. And I guess. The first thing I'd like to do is recognize we have a new condo member, Artisan Elaine.
She couldn't make it. so
She couldn't.
No,
Okay.
second.
So we have yet another, I think our 4th or so new condo member
Yeah.
this year, so Artisan on Main. So welcome to them. And then, Jamie, can you help
It's
with?
not on that.
But, is there some way of controlling it? Just turn this to see. There must have been
I mean, I can speak it out, but it's gonna tell.
There you go.
Is this gonna work?
No.
All right, so let's put up with this for a second, if Patrick, you can work on that. Jamie, as far as our new members, we're gonna have to do some winging it here. because
Yeah.
Some of the folks, I see,
Well, so I can see Scott on Liberty Savings Bank. If you can unmute him, he's one of them.
okay, Scott, and let's,
Thank you.
and then reconstruction.
Experts, is anybody here from reconstruction experts? No, and then fence roofing.
Okay. Well,
So I guess
Okay.
it's Scott, so.
so what I think before we get
Okay.
through Scott saying something, could we have a motion to accept these new associate members?
We can do them all as one.
Yep.
I make a motion to accept reconstruction experts, Liberty Savings Bank and fence roofing as gold and silver members.
Motion to accept.
Okay, the second, and then all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimously. So Scott, would you like to say a few words about your company? You've got about
1 minute.
1 minute, or if you could give us a Reader's Digest version, we appreciate it.
Okay, thank you and good afternoon. As mentioned, my name's Scott Homer. I'm with Liberty Savings Bank, and our bank, we're actually headquartered in Wilmington, Ohio. That's where I'm talking to you at right now. But we've been down in Sarasota, Manatee County since about '95. We're a community bank. We're right at 1.1 billion in asset size. Legal lending limit to anyone borrowers up to about $15 million. So little overview. We're privately owned, family up here, Jim and Jack Powell. I've worked for the bank first time around, close to 10 years, and I rejoined them in June of this year. I'm over commercial lending. I've been doing this banking thing since I was 18. I'm 65 now, so I'm just starting to figure it out, I guess. But anyway, my wife and I just became residents at City Side. We got an apartment there. Real quick, my wife's family started coming to Sarasota, specifically Longboat Key, in 1959. My late father-in-law was a third-generation veterinarian up here in Clinton County, Ohio. So we've known the area, my wife and I. She's a retired teacher. We've known it as tourists. So I just liked what the mission, purpose, and goals are of the association, and wanted to align with it, and thought it made sense for Liberty Savings Bank to be a part of it. So I look forward to meeting all of you in person. I come down there up to about 3 weeks a month. thinking I might stay down there. We're getting ready to get snow up here, so don't come to Ohio, okay, folks? So thanks again. I appreciate the opportunity to share a little bit
Hopefully,
about myself.
in person next month, so welcome to
Thank you.
this, we appreciate your support. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Moving on to old business, the condo survey, is there any updates, Patrick, or with
We
Bob?
sent out the survey to everyone who participated, I guess, on the 17th. But, Patrick,
Yeah, the survey report went out on the 17th. And from that, we had discovered that there were a few of the questions where some data was missing there, and we're concerned it may be something in the Survey Monkey, how it actually recorded it for a file. So we're investigating that, and if necessary, we'll republish a updated one. But the basic financial data is all there that was sent out. And that's the most important thing people are looking for that. And we appreciate any feedback, and we will be exploring alternatives for how to conduct this kind of survey process going forward.
Patrick and Bob, thank you for doing all this work. At the Boulevard condo meeting, we had a long discussion about this and everyone really appreciated all the data. I do think, though, this concept of providing a filled out survey so they can just fill in what's changed over the past year is really gonna drive participation.
Well, thanks to Patrick and Bob
Yes.
for all the work that was.
Patrick.
I can imagine the amount of work that was. Excellent. Thank you.
David, I have none with the treasurer's report.
Oh,
Give them the mic because we gotta
Okay.
record this.
So there's something we saved all this money with Patrick and Bob.
Okay, the checking account balance as of this minute was $3,203.89.
It's not for a Christmas party.
great. It means being able to have a holiday party after all. All right, Ken, downtown Sarasota, master plan, do you have a quick update for us on that?
Yeah, we had a meeting last night. It went very smoothly. Thank you very much. I chaired it. Anyway, we had a little bit of a surprise last night because Dave Bullock came in and he resolved an issue that had been festering for quite a while, and that was community membership on the evaluation committee for the consultant that we're going to have to help us write the update to the downtown master plan. So we've added two new people, a member of the planning board and Wayne Rubin, who's a retailer downtown. So that resolved the issue. And interestingly, at the end of the meeting, we had a discussion about future topics that we want to cover to get us grounded in issues for downtown. And we went through about 12 or 15 items and gave them a rough priority. So we're ready to move forward. The evaluation, our next meeting will be December 8th. And at that point, we will be introduced to the shortlisted applicants as the consultant for the updated master plan. Says that.
Quick question. Ken, did you categorize what with that list of 7 or 8 items you said you're categorizing and prioritizing?
I don't have the list.
No, I mean, what?
Well,
some
like
sample of
the
yeah.
zoning code, the EDCM manual, the parks plan, the transportation plan, issues that are the connectivity plan, issues that are relevant to the downtown.
Okay, next, city manager search, I was at the watched or wherever the heck I was. City manager search is proceeding, they refined the advertisement brochure is on its way. The punchline of all of this is process wise with the holidays that I think they're now with shortlisting interviews, probably looked at a higher date, probably not until March, but in between what you would expect, paper reviews, shortlist, in-person interviews, etc., occurring over the next 3 to 4 months. The next thing on there is the city commission held a strategics projects workshop, at least generically, that's what I'll call it. And that was, coming out of that was a list of a review of the prioritization of the projects. And that's being refined, and as I understand it, will come back to the city commission for approval, but there's a workshop on that. Next, Arts and Cultural Committee, Ken, I
Sure.
expect you to get.
Sure. I have several things I wanted to mention. First of all, on October 26th, the Herald Tribune published an extensive list of arts activities, arts and cultural activities in the downtown area. And I hope you saw that and saved it. But if you didn't, SRQ magazine published another pamphlet that's even more comprehensive. That was what was in the Herald Tribune. So you ought to try and get a copy of that, especially if you have visitors coming from out of town. This will tell you whatever's going on, everything that's going on. Architecture Sarasota is having a series of lectures on Art Deco, 100 Years of Style. They've already had one of the lectures, was on October 28th, but there are 4 more, November 11th, November 25th, December 2nd, and December 12th. You should check their website to see if any of those might be of interest to you and if they are, to buy a ticket. I went to see Pearly at West Coast Black Theater Troupe this past weekend, and I was blown away. That theater group has become much more mature and sophisticated in its work. And if you have a chance, it closes November 9th, but if you have a chance, you ought to go see it. It's just absolutely wonderful. I got a little tired of the musical reviews, the cabarets they had, but this is a new level of entertainment. The Living Arts Festival had their kickoff at the Art Ovation Hotel on Sunday afternoon. It's disappointing. That's all I'll say. I've got more data.
Oh, okay. All right.
The Arts and Cultural Alliance is starting a series of lectures. There are 6 of them on various dates, and you ought to check their website. One of them, October 8th, has already happened, but they're interesting topic. It's arts and resiliency, arts and aging, arts and healthcare, arts and empowerment, arts and early learning, and arts and education advocacy. So check their website if you're interested. Sounds fascinating. So I've mentioned to you that I've been doing interviews on behalf of the Arts and Cultural Alliance Board of arts organizations in the county. And I'm just blown away at how vibrant and how much growth is occurring in arts organizations, particularly in South County. And what I've discovered is that we have 3 symphony orchestras in the county. I didn't know that. But the Venice Orchestra is growing rapidly. And there's also one in Northport, but there are also 4 ballet companies in the county, and I didn't know that. So check your directory of events because there's a heck of a lot going on. Thanks.
Thank you. And Jamie, events, got an update for us? Oh, and maybe just ever so quick recap on what took place?
Yeah, so about a couple weeks ago, I guess, we had the workshop on development where we brought in a developer, actually the person that's developing the Zenith project. And somebody who was more of a community voice and kind of a bunch of attorneys in between. For anybody who missed it, it was extremely well attended. We have to keep bringing out more chairs. I thought it went really well. Everyone shockingly behaved themselves. Also very proud of that fact. Huge thank you to Richard and others that helped me out. It was huge. It was great and very well done. We only had 1 survey, unfortunately. I was kind of hoping for more, but it was very positive. Got a lot of positive feedback, and hopefully our associate members felt that it was a good event for them too, gave good exposure. And then the holiday party that is coming up on December 3rd. As we said, we can actually probably have a pretty good one this year. So I actually have a caterer set up, so we'll have food and everything. We'll have it here, right? Again.
Mhm.
Yep. And December 3rd, and it's usually one of our, probably our biggest attended meeting of the year, so you guys definitely want to come to that.
And Peter,
Right, okay, quickly, just an update on the homeless situation, Health and Safety Committee. At the end of every month, we meet with, well, David and I have been meeting with Shelley Legasky, the city outreach coordinator. She's relatively new to the position, but not new to Sarasota. She's a wealth of information, has great experience. We reviewed the downtown security public private partnership report and noted and got an update on the increased activity of the downtown offices and the hot teams with regard to enforcing outdoor lodging violations and clamping down more on the drug activity, especially around the coconut and tent areas. And that's going really well. I gotta tell you that the police department with the officers and their commitment to it, it's just been great. We discussed the efforts of exactly that, the downtown offices and the hot teams, and how we can get them more publicity. They are doing a wealth of things that we need to try to promote better. And from the city's point of view and from DSCA's point of view. So we're going to be working with Shelley and other people on the promotion of what these folks are doing and giving them some additional credit for that. We discussed the role of other agencies, especially dealing with the persons who are in shelter downtown, and that situation seems to be well under control. It's getting better, and there are more people being housed than ever before in the city in appropriate affordable housing for them. One of the concerns we have, like everybody else, is that many of these people are on the SNAP program and get their food stamps and a good portion of their food and sustenance from that program. I'm happy to know, and I hope you will be too, that several of these agencies got together and with the local Salvation Army are pooling their funds essentially and distributing them to go where they're most needed. And the Salvation Army, I understand, is coordinating that. One last note of particular interest from the Suncoast Partnership to End Homeless at its October board meeting announced that it's gearing up for the January 2026 point in time count. I'll keep you updated on that. They're going to need volunteers again, and this is a count that is very important. But the better and more accurate the count, the better and the more money comes from Housing and Urban Development Department in Washington. And I think that agency is still there. And hopefully we can get more money for training sessions and so forth. So things are looking up, actually.
Quick question, follow Peter. About 6 months ago, we reported on the fact that the Parks Department added benches and tables into parks, Five Points Park and Thorpe Park, and those had been areas of concerns of adding benches would bring more homeless back. Has that occurred? Have you noticed that? What is the hot team reports back?
Well, beyond the hot teams, I walk through that area probably, I don't know, 3-4 times a week in the morning and mid-afternoon. I know Jamie does a lot of walking early. David does a lot of walking early. But one thing I've noticed, especially in the Paul Thorpe Park, is the number of people who either work downtown or live downtown who are sitting on those benches and around the tables, eating lunch, having a cup of coffee and so forth. The 5 Points Park benches, they seem to be using appropriately, and we don't have a lot of, in fact, I don't know of any complaints right now with that increase in the availability of benches and tables.
okay, moving on really quickly, I mean, Hyatt Streetscape, Patrick, did we ever get confirmation that we assigned?
No.
Open that, okay.
No, it's been pending for well over a month since the a alternate streetscape design was proposed by Oprah at the meeting with city staff. And that was way back in September. We met with the staff And they submitted that in September and it's still waiting for approval. And it's on this bank desk, so.
Okay. 41 and Boulevard of the Arts intersection, Patrick, the other Patrick, do you wanna just ever so quickly, credit goes to you for making a lot of this happen, so. Shoot your own horn here.
I think that a whole lot of the community was involved. I think Melissa Laughlin and the Rosemary District Association. Everyone bombarded FDOT along with the city and Nick Patel, who works for the city, who used to be an FDOT employee, who really knows how to communicate with FDOT, I think articulated our safety concerns that resulted in some pretty strategic short-term changes. Whether they're sufficient or not is TBD. But this intersection should be a lot safer now than it was even a month ago, and we'll continue to keep pressure on them to keep driving improvement. Unfortunately, unless there's an accident or serious an issue, they're not going to invest. Right now, I think we're ranked 237 out of 600 on the safety concern list. They were proactive in this particular endeavor, but they don't usually do that. So pressure matters. We just have to see how the new improvements, make a difference.
And also, thank you to Commissioner Jen, because I know she's engaged with the new director of FDOT, who's relatively recently promoted. I know she's part of the Metropolitan Planning Organization, has been advocating for this. So we're talking about Boulevard of the Arts in 41, where, again, thanks to everybody.
Good point.
And Nick Patel. Another thing, parking in the Rosemary is of increasing concern. The Housing Authority is moving ahead with plans for a new senior elderly apartment complex at their campus at Boulevard of the Arts in Central. And under this is public parking is part of this or not. I understand that a part of Braxton Harvey, the director of parking, has commissioned a parking study to get a third-party professional firm to assess the needs for parking. And that should be due any day, and that's going to be the basis for further discussions between the city and the housing.
Is future needs, i.e. the bay and or the Performing Arts Center included in the demand for that?
I can't tell you, I've fed them all sorts of information and,
Because that seems to be a major factor, rebuilding something for the future.
but at the same time, they're planning 750 parking garage at this.
Yeah, but that's still not as much, that's not
Yeah.
replacing.
So I expect on this parking column something to happen in the next month or so. The final item in there is micro transportation at the city's strategic projects a workshop last week. Seems like micro transportation is getting some traction as far as something as could be a future priority. And I think we're remember iRide, Circulator, or some kind of enhanced public transportation. So stay tuned on that. The next item.
Has anybody ever used the flyer to the airport? The trolley that goes to the airport?
Yeah, several times.
Really?
Yes.
And
I
it
fly
worked
on
well?
board.
I'm gonna use it Friday.
Get the app and they'll show you on the exact.
You
Where it
can
is.
go for free on the 99 bus, by the way, so we want to
And-
use
and
that
I
as
guess-
an alternative. No, that's different. 76 is the circulator. The 99 bus is just the one that goes between Manatee and Sarasota, and it's free versus $2 for the other one. So,
And if you have a beef on public transportation in the future, you may want to talk to me. I've just been named as part of an advisory county commissioner, commission to input to it. So we may have at least ears on what's going on county wise.
At least the voice.
Boy. The next item, special events and sound ordinance update. Feel like I've been spending half my life working on this. Circulated with the agenda was a outline, so as to speak, of issues. Peter Blanton has been kind of heading this up, and Peter Patrick M has been involved and others of you. Peter, can you, all of you have seen this document, and what the intent today is to have a link, shall we say, from the board that the issues that we kind of outline are issues that the board would kind of embrace. The intent, I think, is that we would, the city has what is going to the city commission on the 17th. We have that document from Jennifer Jorgensen. And the working plan is to go in and we have it in an editable file. So edit it in the way that we think it would be improved. And that would be circulated to the full board for concurrence and get that to the commissioners in advance of the meeting on the 17th. So Peter, can you fairly briefly the document, which you're the subject matter expert on this. So say
we have discussed this a few times, so I don't want to keep going over the same issues. The 2.5 page summary of thoughts is still a work in progress, but I don't know if anyone has any comments or suggestions before we put out a final version and send that around to the board to approve or not. We were also expecting, once we've finalized the summary document, to have a red line version of the special events ordinance and send that out to city commissioners as well. We are meeting with David and I in particular with a bunch of 4 of the 5 city commissioners. So that's I don't know if there's anything. I guess so. The new issue that's come up is that there's been a flood of events, some occurring on consecutive nights, and the language that's been proposed by staff doesn't really cover consecutive nights. It says you can't have, more than 2 weekends in a row, but what if you have night after night? So we put in something about one block party per 7-day period, if you will, because it's been 3 or 4 over a 7-day period. It's a bit excessive. The others deal with the frequency of events. I mean, the ordinance divides the downtown into 2 separate areas and says one area, the downtown core, can have 24 events per year. And the other area, which is Gateway and JD Hamill Park, Gulfstream, not Gateway, they too can have 24 events. So you have 48 events that can happen, and that doesn't include doesn't include city co-sponsored events, and that's 9 Fresh Fridays and New Year's Eve. So, there's a lot of hand waving that's gone on in this modified special events ordinance, but it isn't as good as it might look to the undiscerning eye.
So we're continuing to work on this, and we can get in the weeds here with the folks, but I personally, the back-to-back that had a Halloween event and then broke that down and set up a block and a half later at a Day of the Dead event that I attended. It was pretty lively, shall I say. So we're working on this. We have reached out to certain buildings, particularly folks at the Mark and 1350 Main are amongst those that are somewhat more affected. So are there any further thoughts on this? We'll take this to the next step, Peter, and then begin to engage a broader group of the board.
I just have a couple questions. How many meetings did we have with the business owners and I'm assuming SPD, because that says public safety and business owners.
We have not met with SPD. I casually talked to Rex about it, but
Okay.
not.
My concern is a couple things.
Microphone.
Oh, I'm sorry. We have in here, based on real world concerns raised during special events and aim to balance a vibrant event culture with neighborhood quality like public safety and fiscal fairness. And then we have in the summary, it says these recommendations consider real world practical concerns raised by residents, business owners, and public safety officials. I think the wording there bothers me a little bit. If we haven't actually met with business owners and fiscal fairness, if they're doing really well with these events. I mean, if we're gonna say that, we should at least meet with them and get their opinion, and we're not meeting with them. Cause it seems like some of these things would actually cause a lot more work for SPD, when they're having to measure all this stuff. Or we just remove that wording if it's just, if it's coming from the residents, that's should be the residents' voice. We're now adding business owners and public safety officials if we haven't. My question is, if we haven't talked to them, then I don't think we need to put them in them.
Which aspects do you feel will cause a lot more work for SPD?
Having to measure sound and things like that, so we've met with them. and
Well, they
actually-
already are supposed to do that. That's not a new thing.
Low frequency bass sounds, or they do that as well.
Oh, well, that would be on the same sound meter.
Okay.
They can do it.
That's not we have that also in the sound ordinance. The City of Sarasota sound ordinance has bass and broad bass sound measures. Yeah, that's already there.
I think those are fair comments. We did have a workshop on this year and a half ago with the Gator Club.
Yeah.
But that's been.
It was a while
long
ago.
enough. But
Yeah.
that's a fair comment.
Yeah, and I don't think that.
Yeah.
the business-
To be fair, most of our comments relate back to best practices throughout the state of Florida, our peer communities, as well as conversations. Well, David Lough has talked to the head of SPD, but as well as conversations with community residents. The bar owners and special events organizers well, I think we know where they're coming out.
Okay.
We have them in there saying it's fiscal
And
fairness.
I'll own some of the wording, so I.
Yeah, but a fair point
Yeah.
on that.
Okay. The next, okay, so we're gonna go away and
Sorry.
we're gonna answer more, but I tell you, there's more moving parts on this thing. We can imagine. The next on the list, the major projects downtown, the Zenith is received partial sign off, so they should apparently be proceeding with that. And Adagio has to come back to the DRC, that's in Never Land. And they are not open to holding a community meeting so far. Hyatt Demolition, if you have they're working on the ballroom now. They finished with the parking garage and they're into the ballroom and they're keep going west in the coming months.
Used to get scaffolding and the sidewalk on the south side of the Boulevard Yards.
Good. All right, Bob, on the Bay Park, what have you got for us?
Well, the big event, I guess, was really is that the Bay Park Conservancy had their meeting with this both the city and the county. And the county commissioners that were participating seemed very positive, and then they went to the county commission meeting to get the $20 million funding from the TIF. And they've decided to put that on hold until, I believe, April, because they're worried about whether the new legislation about the sales tax or the property tax thing that they're trying to push through is there. So they don't know if they're going to have money they don't want to commit to money that they aren't going to be getting if for some reason they change the tax law for, I think we have a lot more problems than just this. And they changed the tax law to do away with property tax. So they basically benched it until April to find out how that all passes through in the state legislature. That's as far as the phase one, phase 3 through phase A and B. That actually was covered an awful lot in the presentation with the SPIP. So that's the parking garage is coming up and so forth. So I don't think there's reason to duplicate that.
No, the only thing I would add to reemphasize is the $1 million for the design work related to phase 3 and A was approved.
Yeah,
So AG's words were that gives them enough to work with, so as to speak, to kick the can, get the design.
but they're kind of waiting for the $20 million to complete phase 3A, I guess.
Correct. Okay. Next up, you'll see some signs in the back there, and this is a CCNA initiative for traffic calming. And so we've got 5 signs for neighborhoods. I was thinking that a lot of our downtown neighborhoods, some of the signs are not going to be of a lot of use. But if some of the neighborhoods represented here have some particular spots in mind for, if I slow down for my neighbors' review, if there are some thoughts for using that, we have 5 signs and probably get some more. So that's an initiative. Hats off to CCNA for kind of making that happen.
Are they allowed to put those in the amended script right away?
Yeah, and
No.
I don't think so.
no, there is, in Kelly, was she,
Tell me what.
okay. There is a approval from the city that's necessary, we're gonna place this, that, I've got the forms for somewhere, but the question is, of the neighborhoods represented, or the condo buildings, are there, if there are particular spots adjacent or near your condo that would lend themselves to this kind of sign, pretending that you can place it in the right way. Come to me and let's talk. Our CCNA membership renewal is due, and I'll be pricing that at $60 for I don't think that's necessary for the decision, so I'm move ahead with that. Rosemary District Association, they are having a community meeting on the 11th at Fogartyville at 5:30 with Nick Patel, and I can't remember who else is on the agenda to give various updates. So 5:30 at Fogartyville next Tuesday. Jamie, our platinums.
Platinums, all right. Michael was here, is Michael here anymore? Tony?
Yeah,
I know, I saw you in here.
Front and center, Tony.
Front and center, yeah, you guys go all the way to the front, sorry.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks, Jamie. Thanks, David. Thank you for work. My name's Tony Brett. I'm the Commodore of the Brinky Yacht Club, which no longer exists. Really, it's Commodore Leather Club. It was ripped down in full, preparing the ground for the construction, which we anticipate will begin after some testing, probably in a week or two. We're really excited about it as we now tell our membership, all of Sarasota is our clubhouse. So we're having a great time. And to that end, we have just launched a new speaker series that we have every year. This is probably the best one ever. What we've done is we have 5 speakers from all walks of life. It's a private event, invitation only, but we are allowed to invite guests, which is why I'm telling you about it today. So anyone who's interested, give us a call. We'd love to have you as a guest. You have to pay for the ticket, of course, but you can come and witness it. We have speakers such as Aaron St. Andres, who is the CEO of Untucket. We have Peter Rothstein, who is giving a behind-the-scenes look at the Hasbro Theater, and that includes a performance of Come From Away, which is owned by people up in Newfoundland. And we have Don Katz, the founder of Audible, speaking. We have Val Azioli, who is the retired chairman of Atlantic Records. Some of his more notable accomplishments, he used to manage Rush, and he used to manage the Rolling Stones. It's going to be a phenomenal evening. And we cap it off with Bobby Brown, who's going to be appearing for Rich Carlton and talk about her life, her business, her career, and it's a launch of her new book. So if anyone's interested, please let me know. We'd love to have you, but pretty exciting stuff for a little tiny club on her key. So we're rocking and rolling. So thank you.
All right, up next, we go with Adrian from Hotwire.
All right, thank you. Hello, everybody. I'm Adrian from Hotwire Communications. We upgrade your properties, whether they're high-rise, mid-rise, and we also do communities, but mostly for this, we do high-rise apartments, and we make that investment in your property for the best connection in internet, as well as our television product. We're the only fiber provider in the market that has their own television product. So anybody that the boards that would like to talk about an upgrade and the options that are available, I'm available. We're so proud to be part of this organization. Thank you, David.
I think Rebecca left, right? Is Rebecca?
She did.
She did, okay. Next up would be Annika, with PWI. Explore this big one. Stace.
Do you want me to talk?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, we're up. Happy early birthday.
Oh, yeah, that's happening. I'm Stacy Cole. I'm a realtor with Fine Properties. Friday's my birthday. We all know what realtors do. I'm not gonna bore you. Oh, I just become a bartender. It's really good. Yeah, great.
Good marketing.
All right, and Kyle speak on Rebecca or yeah.
Might again see you again. Kyle Goda with RTI Insurance. We're an independent agency that works exclusively with condo associations around Sarasota and all of Florida. We service over 200 across the state. I'm always happy to be a set of eyes, and if you have any insurance questions, I'm always free, and I'm happy to talk. Okay.
And a huge thank you, Kyle. You're really good about helping us like set up and clean up lots.
Oh, of course.
That was very. And then Becca.
Hi everyone, I'm now with General Elevators, so my tagline is we go up, we go down, everybody in elevators in their building here. So we're a local independent elevator company, so if you guys are looking for an option of someone to work with, I'd be happy to help you guys, or if you need quotes or alternate proposals.
Okay, yeah. I think that's everybody. Did I miss anybody that's hiding back there? No, okay.
All right, I think our meeting is December 3rd. And tradition is we start at 4, try to end a little bit early, and then we more right into our holiday party, where all the city commissioners have been invited, and a number of senior staff members. Our speakers at the beginning of the meeting were Nick Patel and Sarjay, and I'm the new assistant. I'm not recalling his surname, but we've got both Nick and the new city engineer.
I do have one thing I do want to ask. Even if I get half of you guys to remember, so there's 2 different things to sign up for. One is the board meeting, one is the holiday party. So you're gonna go to one or the other, sign up for one or the other. If you're gonna go to both, sign up for both. Just cuts down on my check-in.
And then as a final thing, are there any comments of any of the member representatives from the buildings here? Jim, the Jims, I don't know, Jim Long, any comments, questions that you folks would like to make?
Oh, I would just mention that we have signed a memorandum of understanding with the police department. We have all our cameras in place, and they've been checked. And people that use them have been taught how to use them. We're currently waiting to sign the tech agreement with the police. Which is taking a little bit of time because we're actually changing management companies at the same time. But we're very happy working with Dave Kennedy and John Lake. They've been very supportive and it will enhance our security throughout our building and in that immediate surrounding area.
And this is what Chief Trochet was talking about, integrating, so as to speak, with the real-time operation center. I think this is the first building availing themselves of this new opportunity. So
Excellent.
other buildings are interested, Peter and I know 1350 Main may be interested, so. Nothing else, let's adjourn and have some wine, and I'll see you for the holiday.